to do the small canopy over the entrance to the City Hall portion of the building. We're waiting on a design issue with the architect. Hopefully we'll get that in the next few days and we'll be completing that. We have one more exterior concrete pour, and that's scheduled for tomorrow. And then we'll be done with our exterior concrete. We've also have 3 pieces of stone left to install, some cap on, some stone on the east elevation. We started sheet rocking the walls last week. We have temporary heat in the building. We will start taping the walls next week, and painting will start approximately in a week and a half, somewhere right around there, and tile a little bit over 2 weeks for the bathrooms and basically about that. And also we're going to start the exterior insulation and substrate for the siding. That'll start next week, and the siding should start probably in a week and a half to 2 weeks.
Wow.
Great.
So it's starting to look like a building. It's not going to be a building that belongs in Santa Fe or or Phoenix, Arizona. So got a lot of questions about that. So
Yeah, I'm sure.
it's good.
Yeah.
So we're progressing very well. We're still trending with the schedule that was last updated in end of August. So we're just waiting on a few more dates for some windows and some couple other things. So, and again, everyone's more than welcome to swing down and do a quick tour if you like. And we'll have the time capsule completed hopefully tomorrow afternoon. And I'll be leaving at the temporary city hall at the Public Works building.
Got it. Great.
Yep, I got a little well, before you leave, I'll just give you my little update quick, since then we have to talk about it later or whatever. I just give you guys a quick run through of some of the cool things that I've gotten. So I've been around to a zillion businesses and gotten cards, pens, whatever, for them to represent themselves. Then I was trying to think of a fun thing from DJ with a photo. So I was in Johnson Heritage Post, and he has a 25 calendar, so we purchased that. And then I got a Spellman Fish House print, and then Gene Gladder's book on downtown businesses, which is History to New or whatever. They donated that for us, the Historical Society did. And so those are the fun things. And then between the Care Center, the Hub, and hopefully the high school seniors, we'll have some written word. And we'll put in the master park plan and maybe some other city things. And tonight, we're going to do a photo op before we go. We might have to Photoshop someone we know in, but we'll do that. So that's what we have so far.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So I am
That's great.
getting progress.
That's
There you
good.
go.
Great. Sounds like you're on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing that.
Thank you very much for your time again.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, everyone, when I stop in all these businesses, they're really excited. They think it's just really fun.
Good.
So it's nice to have, do something that makes people smile.
Yeah.
So there. All right, so next up is the consent agenda. Anyone have any questions about minutes or bills or anything there at all?
Didn't. I would make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the addition of these bills. Is there anything else that needed to be added in, or was it just the bills?
The only,
Yeah, was there another thing?
just one, which I can check with Kim later, but just one quick correction to last meeting minutes.
Yeah.
So in our packet online, it's page 2, but this, talking about the Creative Economy Collaborative, asking the city to provide them with agreement. It's not them. The city is doing this. It's not their request. So we'll just clarify that later.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay. You mean when we're talking about it on the agenda today?
we can, but just we'll have to correct.
We'll correct them.
Yeah, we just have to correct the minutes from last time, so somebody doesn't look at this as a source and go, oh, wait a minute, because then we've already got things off track. So that was the only thing that I had. Okay.
All right.
What do you want-
Second.
Thank you.
Second motion.
I think tonight was Halloween. Okay, so wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Good
we're-
job,
we're-
nice catch.
Yes, thank you. So we'll do our roll call. Craig? Ben?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
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 Thank you. And with that, our consent agenda is approved. Now, moving on to the public art policy. I spent some time, we talked about this at our last meeting, and then I'd already spent time looking at other cities' policies and procedures and whatever, and then I spent quite a bit of time last weekend merging and reading through I discovered that a lot of this was similar within cities. They just sort of wrote it up and did things differently, but basically I felt pretty good because very consistent information and approach to this. And just a refresher for everyone, what's motivating me for this, attending their meetings, they are trying to put some structure and focus to their group and kind of reset up their board a bit, and just, they're considering being a 501(c)(3). They consider themselves a countywide group. So I thought to do our part, that if we firmed up what we want and how we want, the forms and processes we want to follow, then they would have that. And then it's also, to me, an open question, is this a role they'd like to fulfill for the city or not? That's theirs to decide. Maybe not. If not, maybe if we want to do this, we find another source then. And I just also want to make it easier for the park board when these things come up, and have clarity about their role, and then finally with the city about how all of this would work. And so that's why I did all this. I don't, if you guys have questions or concerns. And I guess the other big question too is, does the council want to set up, like, that's not what's in here, but does the city council want to set up an art board? We have the library board and the park board, which is not a question that I asked last time, and that's something we need to clarify. The way this is structured, we're simply asking them to do certain pieces of this, and then we, our role's in there. So that's one question, if you feel like you'd like to discuss that now, or you want more time, but that's a part of this as well. Any thoughts right away about any of it?
I mean, I guess about seeing if they're interested would be good. It didn't occur to me that maybe they don't want to do this. But I do think like giving it structure makes a lot of sense. But would we create, are you saying to create a committee essentially for this? I mean, maybe.
We don't, the way this is
Yeah.
done, we don't need to.
Okay.
But I realize I never asked the question of the council,
I
would
see.
you like to have an art board? This is really structured to just work with them, because that is the group we've been working with. And, but this would also let them know, if that's the case, this would let them know how we want to work and what they need to do. These are the applications we want used, these are the steps we want followed, and then just, so there are a couple layers of questions, so.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, just for myself, I think having the policy makes sense, to give structure to anybody, regardless, makes sense. I don't know that creating a board necessarily makes sense. I mean, maybe we'll find it, or other counselors have other ideas, but to my mind, just having the policy so that when people want to engage in doing public art here, that we have a way of saying like, well, this is how we do it, and this is your application, and then here's the guides that we have, and so if the collective doesn't want to do it anymore, then at least we still have a policy in place and can say like, okay, guess they don't want to do it, but in that case, here's what we're looking for. To me, that would make sense.
Okay. Anyone else?
They have countywide aspirations, which we talked about last meeting, which doesn't make for a good fit as an official appointed by the city council type board. When they did have staff support locally, it was the EDA director that was providing it. And so there's some kind of natural link that makes sense to me with the EDA, although not functionally at the moment. Doesn't make any sense. But the concept of this as a creative economy collaborative, countywide, working with the EDA, that there's probably a natural fit there at some point. A better fit than just with us. But then that gets back to both of your points, which is this is a policy that's for whomever is interested in doing this work. This is describing what you want them to do on your behalf, the things that you need to see, the things that'll make it helpful. So I think it's really terrific that way, that it doesn't require you to create a board, and it still provides a lot of structure around how the work gets done.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me, because that, this could evolve in the future, but I just feel like this way the city's doing their part to give them clarity so they can make their big decisions, and, what they want to do is really. Craig?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think as time goes on, maybe a board is necessary. I think right now I think they need some help them structure their group so that they know, they come up with things. Because I know a lot of times, like the last few things have been presented to the park board. I don't know necessarily, so be it, or city land proper anywhere in the city, then we're involved in that preliminary process. I think that's kind of important.
That's, and I followed process that I saw from other cities, and they also sometimes had other boards, like a park board, that needed to be involved. And so I followed their process, which also means that when that application is filled out, it comes right away to the council. Not that we take any, then in theory, the rest of those steps go to the CEC, but we have awareness, and then also the general public gets awareness right away through us.
Right through the, yeah.
And then if it is on park property, then it is also, as part of the process, goes to the park board as a means. And then if these groups give support for it, then it comes back to us for a final whatever. And the same process would get followed if there'd been a request for someone to remove art as well. There'd be a process that would go through that's fairly similar. The one thing that I saw different, so I put them in here, was how you engage with the public, because they all said the public needs to be engaged in this at some level. So you may have caught, I put an or on it because it's a draft, but on one of them, it's up to that and they all pretty much had an outside group that did this in some capacity. It wasn't this, within a city-held board. And a lot of it, because it was bigger than this, the art stuff was bigger than the city. But anyways, it was either that group held a public meeting, and in this case, so that would be like the CEC would hold a public meeting, and we can, fine-tune this, but holds a public meeting, and or that last meeting, when it comes then to the council, that then there's 30 days for people to respond to it. And so either way, there's a chance for the public to make comment. And we could figure that out, but, how do we best? So that, I felt good that way. And I felt good because I was watching all these other people doing these same, cities doing these same things. I wasn't like thinking this out, but I realized the things running through our heads were the same things other people
But
are.
they're already,
Yeah,
Okay.
thinking through, and that made me feel like we were on the right track. And by reading so many of them, I thought we were pretty thorough getting the information. So, Bill or Ben?
I don't have any questions or comments.
No, I think it looks good. I kind of like that idea of just using that as the framework and then see how it matures and if there's another layer that needs to be added later.
Okay.
With the involving the public question, leaving some options there, it leads into just kind of this next step is giving us the CEC to look at, to try and understand where you're coming from, what sorts of things are important to you, what you are asking them to do on your behalf. But with a question like this, it's also an opportunity for them to provide some feedback to you as well,
Yeah.
how they'd like to do that. You're saying public engagement is important. Here's 2 ways that it's done on a regular basis. And then they can come back and say, we'd prefer this one, or we'd prefer that one, or we don't really want to be involved, and
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
can go from there.
Yeah, and I, for me, this is what the city wants. Maybe they'll discover this isn't what a role they want to take, I don't know. But I think, first of all, we just need to make sure we're getting what we need done, and if it fits for them, and if it doesn't, that's okay too. I'm not, they're a board, they're trying to figure out, and maybe it doesn't, or maybe there's a little wiggle room. Like one of the pieces, and it's partially done, thanks to Visit Cook County, but is inventorying all the work, because
About that.
you forget, like even I've listened to their meeting conversations and no one always has all the details about a project or whatever, so I thought, oh, that was in
Yeah, I
people's,
saw that.
those details, I thought that's really important.
Inventorying and
Yeah, and keep that.
maintaining and, yeah.
And maybe that's a bigger role item than they would want to have, but then somewhere I think the city does need to keep, which with this application form and all this information shouldn't be hard to do, but I think that's a key piece we need to do, because sometimes it's somebody else and they weren't here when this piece of art was accepted or whatever, and then
Right.
you,
It's just out there.
yeah.
Like Pierre, for instance, is a good example. Or even
right.
there in the canoe over the Gunfun Trail. When I got here, there wasn't any city awareness that those were owned by the city. But clearly they are. They're on city property. They've been there for a very long time. They're our responsibility to maintain, so we've taken that on.
Yeah.
But it wasn't in the institutional memory at the time.
Yeah.
So it'll be nice to kind of create some structure around that too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, would we be good to have a vote to approve this as a draft, and then we would present it at the CEC meeting, and then come back as soon as possible back to the city for a final? Would that be
Would
an
that be
okay
the way to
next
do it,
step?
Preliminary and then have them go through it and then have a final draft, is that?
Yeah, I'm not suggesting that this go over by a fine tooth comb. I'm not open to a lot. I mean, I feel like I've done, and I feel good because I watched, read all these other cities, but there are, like Mike said, there's a few key items that definitely need some thought, but, and,
Well, the review criteria is thorough, and, but I'm curious whether or not, because they've gone through a few review processes, they've got some other ideas that aren't included on the list. I guess I don't expect there to be any, but it's possible, because they've done 3 or 4 of these now, that they'll have a couple of things to suggest there.
yep,
Should
Yeah.
so. All right, let's just take a quick vote on that, if that's okay, or I guess emotion.
I will make that motion.
All
That
right.
what you said.
Second for that?
I'll second it.
All right. Craig?
Aye.
Okay, Ben?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
All right, thank you all very much, I appreciate that. That was a big learning, but it just felt better after I saw that, okay, we've got things to go against. So I gave you my big update on the time capsules. I'm also working with the Hub, the Care Center, and the senior class to get some written word. I think that'll be good.
That'll be fun.
We'll print out the master park plan, we'll have our photo tonight. Is there anything, other city things we've done this last year so you'd like to throw in? Some of our bigger things, like, the master park plan, I thought was pretty big. Oh, and then I realized, Craig, the park
Oh, right, yeah.
I always want to say like greeting space or whatever,
what is that,
entrance.
the-
Community connection?
Yes,
Is that what it's called? Is
yeah,
that what
we
it's called?
should,
No.
get
That's what
something
it's
from
called
that.
From the way back, but I
From
think
way
it
back.
needs a new official name.
Yeah.
But yes, that'll be good, yeah.
Okay. Anything else from all the between housing and, I don't know, all the,
Yeah.
The building is the thing that I want to put in there, but it's kind of
Yeah.
around it already, so
Right, yeah.
Silly, but.
maybe we'll put a brick from the old building in there.
Mm.
We
Oh.
kept a few.
Did we keep photos of some of the things that were found, like the gun and stuff like that? We could put that in there, that'd be fun.
Well, should we put the clown?
The what?
The clown?
The clown. Oh, my God.
the 2024 what?
The 2024 Fisherman's Picnic button.
Oh, I have one.
Oh,
Well, that
yeah.
was something that Lynn had suggested to me.
Yeah, I
Cool
got
idea.
that and the
That's a good one.
schedule of events. So I got a few event cards or posters, like Empty Bowls, the Art Festival, just if, you know, if there's more you think of, but some of our regular community events, I got cards for those. All the fun business stuff.
How
Yeah,
big a container is this thing?
I know.
It's about this.
Oh, it is that
Oh, that's
big?
a
Okay,
good
oh, it's bigger
size.
than he told me it was gonna be.
Yeah, I
pretty
was hoping
big.
he'd bring it in tonight.
Well then.
It's
People are
basically
offering,
done. If anybody
businesses
wants to
offered me
see it,
T-shirts,
it's at
and
the
I said, well, I don't
Public
think I
Works
will.
Is it? Okay.
I'm going back and get those T-shirts.
Come to the Public Works Garage and take a look at it.
Well, he told me measurements. He said 11 by 11 by 14. Well, that's bigger.
I mean, that's 11, it's a lot more than 14.
Okay.
Yeah, it's bigger than 14. It's-
Well then,
Okay.
go out and find some bigger, more fun things.
It's got, well, I guess I shouldn't say it's bigger. John's kind of a measuring sort of guy. He probably told you exactly how big it is.
Yeah, as a
You can fit
builder, you might
t-shirts in there.
think.
For sure you can.
And I turned them down. So I don't know if I can fit a whole T-shirt. All right.
Well, we don't
That's
have
good.
a spot in a wall.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually in a room that's somewhat closed off. So there's a closet-sized room that has the stairs, the ladder stairs that go to the roof.
Oh.
And underneath the stairs is basically just a closed-off section where there's no access to it. It's walled off. That's where it's going to go.
Yeah.
So there's room for it to be, you know, a little bit bigger than a person might imagine, just getting stuck in the middle of a wall somewhere.
Okay.
People have been asking us then, well, when's it going to get opened? That's the question everybody wants to know.
Everybody asks me that. Everybody.
We don't intend to open it ever,
Right.
right? It's just going to be discovered at some point, and they're going to open it,
Right.
Ever.
ever. I mean, of course, we're going to open it, right? When we're going to forget it's there. They're going to break into this room. There's going to be a really cool-looking box that John built.
Well, I thought it had like a marker on it or something.
I mean, it'll have a label on it, but it's still just, oh, what's this? And
And then they'll know.
there it is. And this building will last, I mean, it can easily last 100 years as long as it suits the needs of the people that are here.
Right.
So,
That's the question. Yeah, Brian Larson said there was one buried here that they had to read and find out, and one at the school. that they didn't
In here,
know
when
about.
they redid this place, you mean?
no, they opened it just a while. It was
Yeah.
on the front, I thought.
It took them a little while, I guess, to
Oh.
find it, he said.
They usually bury them like under a dedication plaque or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, I thought he said he was gonna have like a plaque thing on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we have a lot of businesses, that's all I know. I started
That's
making a
awesome.
list, and it's like, wow, and
Yeah,
this
yeah.
isn't even like,
I think that's really cool.
oh, boy. Okay.
All right.
All right, so council and staff reports. Craig?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Ben?
Nope.
What's up with North House?
What is up with North?
Yeah,
What
what's
is
up with North House,
They
Mr.
painted their
Representative?
building.
They
They
painted
did
the
paint it,
building,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Popped
check in
too.
with them.
Looks really nice.
Yeah,
Everyone has said that that's.
yeah, it does.
'Cause I haven't been in it since it wasn't filled when I went in, yeah.
It's beautiful. Their gift shop is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Got a lot of space now.
Yeah, for sure.
Can have a lot of inventory. Okay.
Well, we had Arrowhead Animal Rescue, but I think their main thrust is probably covered here. They were concerned about the mounting expenses and when that was gonna get settled up, so.
Yeah, some logistics that got messed up a little bit that are now all sorted out. So this is what we have in your bills is we're reimbursing Arrowhead Animal Rescue for the remainder of the 50,000 that we, the city and the county, agreed to cover, and towards a bill that's about 106,000 for the site work and installation of the trailers on site. So that's the biggest chunk now of expense, the biggest piece that's done. And the rest of it now is to actually just finish the building. It is there, the site work is not quite done, but it's close. But you can see how everything's gonna lay out now. It's gonna be great.
Cool.
So we'll be reaching out to the county to invoice them for the 25 that they agreed, that we're already spending on their behalf in this check that you approved. And from here on out, we haven't authorized any more city expenditures towards this project. So what we've told AAR a few times when they've asked about that question is, if they have a budget, what they know they need to spend to finish, and they don't have the money, they can come back and talk to you about it. And so far, we haven't gotten to that point, and I'm not sure we're going to need to, but of course, that option's on the table.
Mhm.
Okay. So then anyways, they're feeling pretty good at where they're at right now, and
Well, they weren't at the last meeting, but I'm
Right.
sure that this has made
That-
comfort in them, because I've gotten a few emails that they were excited about. You could tell from the way they wrote it, and just saying, yeah. Good.
Great.
good.
And then we had a tree board one too, and they went over the feedback from the public at the open house and some of the results of the field work and kind of wanting to, organize going forward, but that's kind of been put off until the next meeting. Sarah Woodell was not,
No, sure,
There,
yeah,
so-
she's out, yeah.
so yeah, they wanted to give her the opportunity to go through this stuff and then weigh in.
Makes sense.
So,
Oh, good. Well, Shane said he would come and give us a
yeah, and
summary.
that'd be the best way to understand what's happening.
Yeah,
Just high level.
at your next meeting,
Yep.
Yep.
just a brief update, here's where we're at.
Yeah, that's good. Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, we had a library meeting. You'll all be excited to know that the insurance rates should be less coming up, we're hoping, in November. We're under that understanding at this moment. So that'll mean the request from the city will be smaller than it was originally, but we kept everything in because, of course, we would give you the highest number that it would be. So that's great news. Then the Library Friends gave a grant to the library for their programming coming up, and then also made a commitment to support next summer's reading program with a $2,500 commitment for that, for
Nice.
next year's budget. So that was great. And then Superior Cleaning completed the cleaning of the upholstery in the library finally. So we got that all done and done. So it's all
Nice.
yours for $1,665, but it's done. So that's good. And that's the report.
So if the library board knows the health insurance estimates, that's everyone, right?
That's it.
Well, that's,
Yeah,
So that's a general concept then?
we know the number.
About, okay.
Did the health insurance rates go up, or did people decline coverage?
my understanding is it sounded from Amanda's report that they actually went down.
Yeah, I don't think it changed, the people didn't change their positions, the rates were just lower than our initial estimate.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
So we estimated a 10% increase.
Increase, right.
And there isn't gonna be one.
oh, that's
Which
good
is,
to know.
that was the biggest reason. we were-
Okay.
Do
Yeah,
you remember the adjustment, Kim, off the top of your head? Maybe not.
It was about 4% less for singles and about 2.5% less for family.
So,
Mm,
yeah,
alright.
some decent. It's one of those things
Nice.
that when we
Yeah.
do the initial budget in September, we know we don't have the real number yet, but we will by December.
Yeah. So good news on that.
Okay, well, that is good news. Yeah. All right, Mike, did you want to give your updates?
Yeah, there's a
Okay.
couple of things I want to talk about. September financial reports are out today. Kim sent them out to everybody. Absolute gangbusters at the rec park, great month at the liquor store, good month at the golf course. All the June slowdown seems to have been completely recovered with a spectacular September.
Good.
Wow.
So, and so that's nice. Last week, maybe you'll talk about this too, Tracy, but we attended the Chamber's legislative update luncheon. So thank you to the Chamber for putting that on. We've had a chance now to meet their new lobbying team, and then at the luncheon, talk to our elected officials, Representative Scraba, Senator Hochschild, about what's going on in the city. We had 15 minutes, and we gave them an overview of where we're at with the wastewater treatment plant project. We don't have a specific ask yet, but I'm anticipating we'll need to in the near future. So they were attentive, asked some great questions, and the other nice thing about it is the chamber membership is there to also hear about it. So it's another good way to keep the word out in the public that this project is coming and necessary, and how important and valuable it is to everybody that we get this right. So
Yeah, and then after that, because sitting in that room is a larger group of people when we're having that. It's just not just us with the legislators, including county commissioners. So afterwards, still up there that afternoon, I heard from one commissioner, well, the county should be helping a lot more with this, this recognition that we're taking care of waste for the whole county. Like, just kind of tying that together was really nice to hear, too. So, yeah, I thought that went really well, and the gala was a nice social evening, and it was absolutely packed, full of people, and I think everyone really enjoys it. I think they like all the different awards, watching people and you work with go up there and have fun. So, to me, all these local things kind of start with radio waves, and then we just keep having fun things for people to kind of, after a busy season, to kind of wind down from. So it was very nice. Had a nice buffet, and Portage, very gracious hosts. So it was a nice day. Felt good about it all. For our group meeting with East Bay, now we have Mike Keyport in with FEMA, and then we're still working with Army Corps of Engineers, and then we determine next step will be reaching out to the tribe to bring them in on this, and we're sending out a letter, but we've all also had some conversations with people as well, so they know that that's coming. So that's good too, and sounded real positive. So that's where we're headed with that. Looking at my list here, we'll talk about this at another meeting, but it's time to take a look. I'd like to have it in the next meeting, but all the different boards that we have, and I do have confirmation, for example, from the EDA that Meyer and Bersheim will not be continuing. So that is one for sure. And looking at the list that Mike supplied, we have a few others in different boards that are done with their second term. So there are some openings.
So we need to get some folks in
Yep,
there.
and we need to do a nice little publicity blitz and try to personalize this and get some people excited to participate.
So EDA and what else?
I'm just doing
Oh,
a
I'm
quick,
sorry.
oh, that's,
You're
no,
gonna
it's
tell
okay.
us sometime in the future, I bet.
Yeah, like we'll have it on next meeting. It
Okay.
looks like there's going to be a park board opening, if I'm reading this correctly. And then, when did I see, I guess that's it of term that's catching my eye, unless I'm reading this wrong. But yeah, so we'll just go through that. And then, maybe other people like Myron who could have continued don't want to. We'll have to double check all that. And then I'm not sure, are we, actually supposed to just open them all up anyways?
we do,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
So when
they're-
we put an advertisement out, we'll list all the openings at this point and reach out specifically to the incumbents that are eligible to serve another term and ask them if they're interested in doing that. and then start to get a feel for where we're gonna need to do extra.
Yeah.
Go out and
Mhm.
recruit,
Okay.
Yeah, so,
like the EDA.
let's see. Just a little heads up, it's more of a question for planning and zoning.
Oh,
If you guys pursued at all that we talked about requiring a survey when we do those conditional or what variances and things. I commonly, the one that we did approve to divide, was that 2 months ago now, up the street? It happens to be up the street from me.
Oh,
Mike
yeah, yeah,
Running
yeah.
one, or the-
Pardon me?
Was it Mike Runnings that?
Mhm.
Is that the right name? Yeah. Anyways, so I walk by every day. So they did, those people did have it surveyed, and you guys should drive by and take a look. It's really tight against that cabin. I really think that was, just knowing how things are of our history around here, I think that's a really good idea for future to have them do that. It's staked right now, so you can see it. Then in doing this art work, I opened up New York Mills city page, and one of their new things is they have added a text ability to message everyone. And I'll share that with you later, but it can be personalized. So if you were gonna do work on a certain street, you could get a text out, like you didn't have to blanket the whole town about something, but you could, if they sign up, you can get that, like, we're working here on this street today. And I have been out and about since we had a couple unexpecteds and some electrical stuff. And, I remember this too, but it's gotten more so. Businesses, like I didn't happen to look at Boreal, well, now I'm finding out I can't process a transaction. Well, some of them should have backup, but they don't, whatever, right? So I just think it's imperative that we try to look at things like that. I don't know what the costs are, whatever, but really continue to make sure we can get to people in a timely manner on that. So I'm sure there's a lot of services. This one just happened to be splattered on their front page because it was new, and I thought, well, that's exactly the kind of thing, by getting this contact information that we've been working on slowly would be super helpful for people.
I just met with the people who provide New York Mills that service.
Oh, okay,
And it seems reasonably priced, so
okay.
I think we can look at pursuing that.
Take a look at that. Okay, cool, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, so what we're gonna do next is just come up with a real basic business case for it. Like, how do we intend to use it? What are the things we use it for? How often? And I won't take long, and I think we'll come back with a recommendation on that pretty quick.
Yeah, because, people don't use cash. No one's writing checks. I mean, for a lot of businesses, you're not going to pump gas if there's no electric going. They should have backup, right? You'd hope, but not everybody, or credit card, whatever, right?
I use cash sometimes.
No, I know, some do. But you get the general drift of where this goes. And frustration. And I just happened to be in the store at the right time. Quick, because they're shutting us down. Okay, we hit the community connections on that. Just want to double check, because in just a few short weeks, I believe we switched to our Winter City parking rules.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have the signs up yet? Because we
They're
didn't
up.
have them. Okay.
As a matter of fact, there's one up in a very useful location.
Okay. And all right. And, go ahead, sorry.
It clicked.
It's the 15th of November is when we turn that over, so it's just over 2 weeks from now.
The weather hasn't made it feel that way, but I realize looking at the calendar, I'm still think it would be really good to send up a communication to all those Highway 61,
Yeah, we want
'cause,
to, I
like-
think we want to send out a reminder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like Greg
Yeah.
was like, Greg Wright was like, I wasn't even aware that this was a thing last year, like, that didn't get to him. So I just feel like you can't communicate enough, switch over. And then, if this doesn't start to cure things along Highway 61, I would like a conversation about this for the entire 365 days a year. Because I think it does, And, you know, we did have an email, remember, from Paul Sporn, too.
Yep.
And we didn't really address it, but maybe we need to.
Is that the parking one or the weeds one?
Parking one. He may have weeds in there, too, but it was parking.
Yeah,
That was his primary.
yeah.
This is the big thing.
Yeah.
Going on driveway.
Yeah. So, and then, so what's the tree trimming around the bear? Is that like once it gets colder out, or when are we gonna protect that from further erosion again?
I don't have an answer for that, but I can get you one.
Okay. I think that was everything on my list. Oh, one other quick thing. Our HR committee has been meeting, and we're getting ready again. It's that season to do the reviews. We're gonna get this totally calendared, but two of the things that the council needs to sit down and meet on at a really high level, first of all, which we probably should do next month, so
Okay.
I can get ready and the department heads can get ready, is just our high-level goals. Those aren't tasks or specific things we do, but themes again, like this year was communications, maybe that one of them, you know, maybe it continues on, whatever those are, but we should have a little short work session on that. And then, of course, we'll have to have, when the reviews are moving along, then we'll have to have our meeting as well for our city administrator. So just keep that in the back of your mind with just November and December. So we'll get that. We're meeting next Wednesday. We'll get that timeline, and then we'll come back
Okay.
to the council and
Yep.
we'll set, you know. So just want a heads up for everybody on that.
Yep.
Anything else?
Big day next week on Tuesday.
Big day.
Thank you, everyone, for your willingness to serve.
Yep.
So
We all are, and
it's
here
a
we all
lot
will be
to
again.
ask.
Yeah.
I hope everybody takes it as seriously as
Yeah.
you do and as it needs to be next Tuesday, and
Well, good.
it should go well.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully Minnesota comes through shining. Okay, well, thank you, everyone, then. That is the end of tonight's meeting. You can go home and sample your candy, because you'll probably have a lot of extra.
I was just thinking that. Although you never know, we've got intrepid kids.